Welcome to Magnificat TV, dedicated to offer the news of the Church. Today is Wednesday, February the 24th, 2021. The Pope has introduced changes in the Vatican Curia. Among them, has accepted the resignation of Cardinal Sarah as Prefect of the Congregation of Liturgy. The Vatican warned its employees that anyone that does not want to be vaccinated could be fired, and then rectified, but consequences are not ruled out. The Archbishop of Kansas City has called on President Biden to not call himself a devout Catholic and to abstain from going to receive Holy Communion. The government of Spain had to admit that the Church acted legally by registering 35,000 estates as its own. China will not respect the agreement signed with the Vatican and will ordain bishops faithful to the communism regime without consensus of the Holy See. Changes in the leadership for the Vatican Curia. Among them, the Pope has accepted the resignation of Cardinal Sarah, until now Prefect of the Congregation of the Liturgy. According to the Cardinal and published by the Holy See Press Office, the Holy Father has accepted Cardinal Sarah's resignation due to his age, a few months after his 70th birthday.
Today, the Pope has accepted my resignation as Prefect of the Congregation of Divine Worship after my 75th birthday. I am in God's hand. Christ is the only rock. We will see each other very soon in Rome and elsewhere. The African Cardinal wrote on social network.
Francis has made this decision without announcing a successor, which is unusual. On the prefect of the various congregations, Sarah is not the oldest. Venianino Stella, prefect of the Congregation for Clergy, is 70 years old, and Cardinal Versaldi and Sandri, at the head of other dicasteries, are 77.
The Vatican has also announced the acceptance of the resignation of Cardinal Angelo Comastri as Archpriest of St. Peter's Basilica. In his place, he has announced a replacement, Mauro Gambetti, custodian of the Sacred Convent of Assisi and one of the cardinals created by Francis in the last consistory in November last year.
Anyone who does not get vaccinated may be fired, the Vatican told its employees, shortly after rectified, although there will still be some consequences.
In a decree issued on February 8, Cardinal Bertello, governor of the Vatican State, warned that those employees who refuse to receive the COVID-19 vaccine when it is considered necessary for their work could face sanctions and even dismissal.
According to the Cardinal Bertello's decree, employees who cannot receive the vaccine for a critical health reason may be temporarily assigned to a different, equivalent, or otherwise inferior duties that present less risk of contagion while maintaining their current salary.
The order also states that the employees who refuse to receive the vaccine without proving health reasons could face consequences of varying degrees, up to and including termination of the employment relationship.
In view of the turmoil caused by the measure, the Vatican issued a note in which it assures the proposed measure against the employees who refuse to be vaccinated because of the pandemic are not a punitive nature, but rather seek the protection of the community. Archbishop of Kansas City has called on President Biden to not go to receive Holy Communion because of his pro-abortion position and to stop claiming to be a devout Catholic.
President Joe Biden should stop defining himself as a devout Catholic because of his pro-abortion activism. This is what the Archbishop of Kansas, Joseph Neumann, has said, adding that bishops must correct the president for acting contrary to the Catholic faith.
Archbishop Neumann said that the president should stop defining himself as a devout Catholic and knowledge of the views of an abortion are contrary to Catholic moral teaching. It could be more honest approach on his part to say that he disagrees with his church.
When he says he's a devout Catholic, we bishops have a responsibility to correct him. While the people have given this president power and authority, he cannot define what it is to be a Catholic and what Catholic moral teaching is, he continued.
What he's doing now is usurping the role of the bishops and confusing people. He is declaring that he is a Catholic and that he is going to force people to support abortion through their taxes. The bishops have to correct him, as president is acting against the Catholic faith, he added.
Likewise, Monsignor Neumann assured that Biden has the responsibility of not presenting himself for Holy Communion in order not to compromise the priest, since he cannot give him communion.
Even if for months the Church has been accused of seizing real estate that is not its own, the Spanish government had to admit that this is not the case. A document presented by the Spanish government to the Parliament recognizes that the Church did not commit irregularities when it is registered 35,000 properties as it is owned. Now, it is open for the interested parties to provide evidence that this is not the case.
The Secretary General of the Spanish Episcopal Conference, Monsignor Luis Arguello, has valued the report, showing his satisfaction because he recognized that the Church has acted within the law.
Monsignor Arguello recalled that these assets of the Church are at the service of the common good through its own activities, in the liturgy and catechesis and charity, and the many of them also have an extraordinary historical, artist, and culture value. China has decided not to respect the agreement signed with the Vatican and will not submit to the Pope for the election of bishops as established in the agreement.
According to what the Holy See leaked about the agreement with the Chinese dictatorship, the election of bishops will be done by mutual agreement. The communist regime's new rules on religious activity ignore this agreement and state that bishops will be appointed by the government. China's dictatorial communist regime will have a new regulation of all religious activities starting May 1st. It consists of even more exhaustive and sophisticated control by the authorities, which leaves no room for true religious freedom. To be authorized by the government, it is not enough to be a clergyman in one of the authorized religions. They must demonstrate that they support the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party and support the socialist system. Bishops must be elected by the Chinese Patriarch Catholic Association, that is, appointed by the Communist Party. No mentioning is made of the Vatican or the Pope, who in theory should chosen and appoint one of the three candidates proposed by the government as bishop, according to the agreement. Our editorial of this week is dedicated to commenting on the possibility of pregnancy on demand, intended for production of organs for transplants. When a man ceases to believe in God, he believes in anything else. It is a Chesterton's quote that serves as a prophecy of what is happening today. This is not the world in which Christianity arose. It was a religious world, even a deeply religious world,
And not only the Jewish, but also the pagans, they believe in God, the God of the Olympus. It was a religious world in which Christianity spoke of another God, or a God, in the case of the Jewish, who completed the revelation already received. Nor it is the medieval world. The medieval world was a profoundly Christian, marked also by an intense faith in eternal life, which is reward and punishments. It is not the world of the modern age, the world in which questions such as whether one could be saved apart from good deeds were settled with spears and cannons. It is not even the contemporary world, which was born after the French Revolution with the Enlightenment, because even in that world, religion was seen from the utilitarian point of view as an institution that gave a certain morality to the people to prevent them from following into moral anarchism, into excesses. This is a world not only post-Christian, but also post-religious. Pessoa, the Portuguese writer, said many years ago, "Our generation has stopped believing in God for the same reason the previous generations believed in God, for no reason at all." I don't know whether Pessoa was right or not, but our generation has certainly stopped believing in God. And this largely collective lack of faith in any God, I insist, is not a post-Christian world, but a post-religious world. This collective lack of faith makes essential questions that have been present since history, since the very origin of humanity, since prehistory, such as eternal life, and relevant today. This, of course, as Chesterton says, leads to believe in something else. What do people believe in today? Believed in well-being, believed in hedonism at any price, without there being any other than the forbidden, which is modifiable to the limit man's activities and behavior. Honestly, I don't think I am pessimist. Well, I'm not optimistic either. I am a person of hope. That is, I am a believer who has hope because I am a believer and I'm sure that the Lord is the Lord of history. And because I have hope, I know that this wave of basically adolescence that we are living, experiencing deep inside of rebellion against the God of our elders, this wave will pass. This wave indeed will have and has terrible consequences. It is something that we can see and can be touched, but the fact is that we are going to get worse, more and more. For example, it had just been approved in New York that surrogacy is legal. That is to say, people with resources will be able to entrust a child to a woman who is supposed to be without those resources and who will act as a baby's womb, so that those who have entrusted them the child can have it later. Fine. But what's more, in New York, as in other states, in the United States, abortion by decapitation is also approved. Abortion by decapitation means that the baby finished its 9 months of pregnancy. The birth begins at the moment when the head comes out. They interrupt the birth for a moment. They inserted a needle in the head, in the cerebellum. They immediately cause death. And they finish the birth. The baby is dead, but his organs are suitable for transplant. How long would it take, if it doesn't already exist, to see a market 4 organs from this type of trade? You order the baby, it is legal. You kill the baby, it's legal. And you sell the baby's part, the same as in the butcher shop with the beef. You buy the beef, cut it up, and put it on sale. And this is legal. This is going to be legal, I repeat. It's not already been done. No doubt, it won't be long before it's done. We may even get to see advertisements on the internet offering organs for sale, or sales because the expired date data these organs is approaching. Truly, this is a godless world capable of horrific things, and I repeat, this is an example. What is to be done? I think we have to complete Chesterton's sentence, Chesterton's prophecy, with the sentence from that mystical tailor called the Jen Tyranowski, who was so important in Karol Wojtyła lives, when as a young man he was thinking about hesitating between becoming a member of the resistance that fought against the Nazis or going to the seminary. Tyranowski told him, "Evil destroy himself. You dedicate yourself to do good." Wojtyła entered the seminary, and we know all the good that he did until now, even after his death. The world is destroyed in itself because it has abandoned God. All that counts is hedonism, well-being, to some extent more and more, and unpatriotic sentiments and that rejects any kind of moral norms. I repeat, the only thing that counts is what is legal or not, and that is continuously modifiable. But this world is destroying himself. Destroying himself. Evil cannot build. It doesn't know how to build. Evil first destroys the good that is fine, certainly, but then destroy themselves, and man is not capable of living in a ruin. So, what do we have to do? It was Eliot who said, also many years ago, they are trying an experiment to build a world without God. They will fail, but in the meantime, let us save our families. They are trying an experiment to build the world without God, not only a post-Christian world, a post-religious world, a world without moral standards. They are trying an experiment and they will fail. Let us save our families. How are we going to save our families? By being part of one big family, which is the church. But the church of Jesus Christ, that is, the church that has the courage to reject what is politically correct, to preach the whole message of the Lord, including eternal life. Until next week, God willing. If you would like to keep updated to what is happening in the church, we invite you to visit our website, www.magnificat.tv. See you next week, God willing.